And while the investigation into election interference continues, President Trump said in an interview with Fox Business that it is, quote, not too late to fire FBI Director James Comey. Comey has been under intense scrutiny since last fall when he reopened the probe into Hillary Clinton's use of a personal email server just days before the election. In a two-part series, the publication Newsweek takes a dive into the future of Comey's role as FBI Director under President Trump. Max Kutner is one of the authors of the article. He's a senior writer at Newsweek and joins me now. Max, you spoke to 12 different people, a dozen or so. What did you take away with? Was there anything new that you learned?
What we learned, Rena, is that people either love Director Comey or they hate Director Comey. And it's not even a wavering thing. It's people feel one way or the other. A lot of people feel that he completely botched the investigation into Clinton's email server. Other people feel that he's the perfect person to now take on President Trump and Russia and get to the bottom of what happened, if anything happened.
The president has the authority to fire Comey. It was touch and go. Do you think that he could possibly do that, depending on the results of the investigation?
So the president actually doesn't need a clear reason. The FBI director serves at the pleasure of the president, and so at any moment, pretty much, the president can say, and Trump loves to say this, you're fired. Yes, Director Comey is now under investigation by the DOJ Inspector General, and if that Inspector General found, in fact, that Director Comey had mishandled the Clinton email matter, it would give President Trump a reason to ask for his resignation.
So there really hasn't been. The first firing was William Sessions under Clinton.
Yes.
I mean, it's not really, even though there might be tensions between the president and the FBI director, they've kind of always worked it out, right?
And we see these sorts of tensions all the time, and part of that is most likely because the FBI director, at least in modern history, serves for a 10-year term, and so by design will outlast the president. And so we do see those sorts of tensions. It's very rare that an FBI director is fired or resigns.
There was a CBS News poll, and it found that 59% say that they believe it's at least somewhat likely that Trump associates did have improper contact with Russian government officials. How close do you think the FBI is at this point to wrapping up this investigation?
Not close is what I'm told by people who actually oversaw this investigation before leaving the FBI recently. I'm told that these sorts of counterintelligence investigations can take several years. We know that this one has been going on since July, and we also know that counterintelligence investigations don't necessarily result in criminal charges. It's different from a typical criminal investigation. So I think we are still a long way from seeing how this will play out.
You mentioned earlier about the Department of Justice's Office of the Inspector General looking into Comey and his handling there. Do you have any sense of where that investigation is headed and what we'll learn from that?
So that was announced in January, and I'm told that also could take a year or longer. I spoke with former Inspector General for the DOJ, Michael Bromwich, who told me, and he was under Bill Clinton, he told me if he were Inspector General, he'd say that Comey did, in fact, mishandled the Clinton email matter. And that was sort of his general sense. Of course, he's not involved in this investigation, but he expects it will find misconduct.
There, at an event earlier this week, Director Comey warned about foreign adversaries possibly using elections and tampering with it to sort of violate the democracy here. What do you think is the sense that Comey has with Russia? Is there any way to read into what he's thinking on this? We'll have to see what sort of statements he puts out. He, unlike previous FBI directors, is very transparent. Yeah.
People have said he goes too far in being transparent. We saw this with his disclosures into the Clinton email matter last year. We saw it even in March at the House Intelligence Committee saying the FBI is investigating Russia and possible ties to Trump's team. That is something that directors typically don't talk about when there's an ongoing investigation. We also have seen different reports come out, statements by the FBI and by the federal government more generally. There was a declassified report that came out in January that really outlined from the U.S. intelligence community what sort of things they are looking for. Among them, RT, which is Russia's, the Russian state-owned TV outlet. So that's just one of many things that they're looking at.
He's talked about particularly the use of trolls to try and pass through fake news to affect the election. Is the FBI doing more when it comes to technology and dealing with elections?
So Director Comey has said recently that cybersecurity is a #1 priority for him, and that's because it encompasses all types of crime, financial crime, terrorism. And so I do think that that will continue to be a priority, and I can only speculate that Director Comey will add sort of the fake news issue to that.
Max Kutner with Newsweek, thank you so much. A fascinating look at Jim Comey. Thanks for that report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.